Hello and welcome to another inspiring episode here, Decode Your English, the channel where we dive into real-life topics to help you grow your English skills and your mindset at the same time. I'm thrilled you're joining me today, and we're about to explore something truly powerful. Today's episode is all about a phrase you've likely heard before: truth unlocks everything. But what does that really mean? Is being truthful always the best path? And why can it feel so tough to be honest, even with ourselves? Let's unpack this idea together. The phrase truth unlocks everything is a timeless saying. It tells us that being truthful, living with integrity, and speaking honestly is the smartest and most reliable way to navigate life. It's not always the easy road. Sometimes honesty feels risky or uncomfortable, but in the long run, it brings clarity, trust, and respect, both from others and within ourselves. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever told a small lie to spare someone's feelings? Or maybe you held back the truth because you were scared of the consequences? We've all been there. It's human nature. But what happens afterward? Do you feel lighter? Or does that choice weigh you down with guilt or worry? Being truthful takes courage. It takes self-respect. It means showing up as your real self, even when it's hard. In today's episode, we're diving deep into why truth matters, how it helps us grow, and why it's the key to stronger relationships and a more peaceful life. I also want you to reflect on this. Have you ever hesitated to share the truth because you feared judgment? Or maybe you weren't sure how someone would react? What about being honest with yourself about your dreams, your mistakes, or your feelings? These aren't easy questions, but they're worth asking. So grab a comfy seat, take a deep breath, and let's explore this topic together. Because at its core, truth isn't just about right or wrong. It's about connection, character, and building a life you can be proud of. Let's get started. What does truth really mean? Let's begin by digging into this big question. What does truth actually mean? Most of us might say it's about not lying or saying what's real. That's a solid starting point. But truth is more than just stating facts. It's about being authentic, being clear, and being yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Truth isn't just about facts like the meeting is at 10 a.m. or I finished my work yesterday. That's factual truth, and it's important, no doubt. But there's another kind of truth that's often harder to practice: emotional truth. This is when you share how you really feel. For example, saying, "I'm feeling overwhelmed," or "that comment hurt me," or "I'm struggling right now." These aren't facts, they're emotions. And for many of us, this kind of truth feels risky because it makes us vulnerable. When we admit our fears, our doubts, or our needs, we open ourselves up to judgment or misunderstanding. But here's the thing, without emotional truth, it's hard to build deep connections. It's tough to trust others or let them trust us. Being emotionally truthful means you're not pretending everything's fine when it's not. You're not forcing a smile when you feel like crying. You're being real, and in today's world, that takes real strength. Let's look at truth in different parts of life. In relationships, truth is the bedrock of trust. Imagine a friend who always tells you what you want to hear. Even if it's not true, it might feel good at first. But over time, you start to wonder, can I really rely on them? A true friend will speak from the heart, even when it's tough. But they'll do it with kindness. That's what makes relationships meaningful. In the workplace, truth is just as vital. Being truthful at work doesn't mean blurting out every thought without a filter. It means being professional, clear, and dependable. For example, if you mess up, it's better to own it and take responsibility than to hide it. Mistakes happen, but when you're truthful about them, people respect you more. You show you care about your work and are willing to grow. Truth at work also means giving feedback respectfully, not just saying what someone wants to hear, but calling it like it is when needed, in a kind way. And perhaps the toughest kind of truth is being honest with yourself. Self-truth means facing your reality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, your dreams. It means asking hard questions. Am I doing what I truly want? Am I proud of my actions when no one's watching? Am I avoiding something out of fear? These questions aren't easy, but they're where growth begins. Without self-truth, we stay stuck in patterns that hold us back. So, truth is more than just not lying. It's about showing up as your authentic self in your words, actions, and emotions. It's about saying what you mean, meaning what you say, and having the courage to share your truth, even when it's tough. When we're truthful in all areas of life, we open the door to deeper connections, clearer communication, and a calmer inner world. Before we move on, I invite you to reflect. Where in your life could you be more truthful? Maybe with a loved one, at work, or even in how you talk to yourself. Truth isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And that's where real change starts. What does truth unlocks everything really mean? Let's zoom in on the phrase at the heart of today's episode. Truth unlocks everything. You've probably heard similar sayings, like honesty is the best policy. But what does it mean in our daily lives? At its core, it's about choosing truthfulness, acting with integrity, and being sincere as the smartest, most dependable way to live. The word unlock suggests that truth opens doors to trust, to growth, to peace. This idea has deep roots. It's tied to old traditions, stories, and teachings across cultures. Philosophers, leaders, and everyday people have long seen truth as a cornerstone of good character. It's not just a personal choice, it's a value that helps us live together peacefully. When we say truth unlocks everything, we're linking truth to trust and character. Trust is like a bridge between people. When someone is truthful, they make that bridge strong. Others can rely on them, feel safe sharing their thoughts, and believe their words. This trust is crucial in families, friendships, workplaces, and communities. Without truth, trust crumbles, and relationships weaken or even break. Character is another big piece. Being truthful shows you're someone who respects yourself and others. It proves you're responsible and reliable, building your reputation over time. But here's a question. Is truth always easy? Sometimes sharing the truth feels scary. We worry about hurting feelings, causing conflict, or being judged. Some even wonder if truth is always the right choice. Should we always say everything, even if it might upset someone? Or is it sometimes better to soften our words? These are big questions because truth isn't just about facts, it's about how we share it. Truth includes speaking openly, but also kindly, finding a balance between being truthful and being thoughtful. As we explore this today, keep this in mind. How can we share truth in a way that builds trust and shows good character? Even when it's hard, that's the challenge and the gift of truth. The benefits of being truthful. Now that we've explored what truth means, let's dive into why it's so valuable. Why does being truthful make life better? Not just in words, but in how we live. One of the biggest reasons is that truth builds trust. Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship, whether it's with a friend, a partner, a colleague, or even yourself. When someone is truthful, you feel safe. You know where you stand. You don't have to guess what they're thinking or worry they're hiding something. And when you're truthful, others feel comfortable being real with you, creating a space for open communication and support. Truth also boosts confidence. That might sound surprising, but think about it. When you're truthful, you're being authentic. You're not pretending or hiding. You're standing in your truth. And that takes courage. Each time you speak your truth, even when it's tough, you remind yourself your voice matters. That builds self-respect, and over time, your confidence grows. Even if others don't always agree, they often respect your truthfulness, and most importantly, you respect yourself. Another benefit is that truth reduces stress. Have you ever told a lie and then worried about getting caught? Maybe you kept replaying the moment, wondering what might happen. That mental weight adds up, but when you're truthful, there's nothing to hide, nothing to cover up. You're free, you sleep better, feel calmer, and carry less worry. Even if telling the truth is hard in the moment, it often brings relief, like a weight lifting off your shoulders. Let me share a personal story. Years ago, I promised a friend I'd help with a group project. I said yes to avoid disappointing them. But deep down, I knew I didn't have the time. I made excuses, delayed, and things got messy. Finally, I came clean and admitted I'd overpromised. To my surprise, my friend wasn't upset. They were grateful I opened up. That honest talk rebuilt our trust, and we're still friends today. If I'd been truthful from the start, we could have avoided so much tension. That taught me something. The truth might sting for a moment, but dishonesty hurts longer. Now, I want to ask you, have you ever felt relief after telling the truth? Even if it was hard, maybe it was something you were holding in or scared to admit. Think about how you felt after the freedom, the clarity. That's the power of truth. It clears the air and lets you move forward. Of course, being truthful doesn't mean everything will be smooth. People might not always react the way you hope. Asterisk. But in most cases, truth strengthens relationships, not weakens them. It shows the real you, and that's something worth sharing. The cost of dishonesty. Even small no. Let's flip the coin and look at what happens when we're not truthful. What's the real cost of lying? Even if the lies seem small. Many people think small lies, white lies don't matter. Maybe you say, I love your cooking, when the food wasn't great, or I'm fine. When you're not, these might seem harmless, but if we're not careful, even small lies can cause bigger problems, especially when they become a habit. Then there are half-truths, saying something partly true, but leaving out key details. For example, telling your boss, I've started the project, when you've only written the title. It's technically true, but is it honest? Half-truths create confusion because people trust your words, but don't get the full picture. Another kind of dishonesty is lying by omission, staying silent when you should speak up. Imagine your friend is making a big decision, and you know something that could help, but you don't say it. You didn't lie outright, but you withheld the truth. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. All these forms of dishonesty, white lies, half-truths, omissions, can hurt. They create distance, damage trust, and leave you feeling anxious or guilty inside. Let me share another story. A few years ago, I skipped a coworker's birthday dinner because I was tired. Instead of being honest, I said I had a family emergency. It felt easy at first, no conflict, no questions. But later, my coworker asked about my family, and I had to keep lying to cover it up. One small lie led to more, and I felt embarrassed and distant. The trust between us changed, not because they knew I lied, but because I knew. That's the thing about dishonesty. Even if no one catches you, you know the truth. Carrying that secret is heavy. It takes energy to keep up a lie, remembering what you said, who you said it to, how to act. That pressure builds stress, anxiety, even guilt, socially. Dishonesty breaks connections. When people find out you lied, even once, they question everything you say. Rebuilding trust is like fixing a broken mirror. The cracks are still there. Emotionally, lying can hurt your self-respect. You might start seeing yourself as someone who hides or avoids the truth. When that becomes a pattern, it's hard to feel confident or proud. Of course, nobody's perfect. We've all lied at some point to avoid trouble or make someone feel better. But the key is to ask, is this lie helping? Or is it just delaying discomfort? Often, we lie to avoid pain, but that relief is temporary. So, next time you're tempted to hide the truth, pause. What's the cost of this lie? What would it feel like to be honest instead? Because even small lies can lead to big problems, and the truth, though tough, often brings freedom. Why truth can be hard? Some of the missive truth brings so many benefits: trust, confidence, peace. Why do we struggle with it? Why is it so hard to be truthful with others or even ourselves? One big reason is fear of judgment. We worry that if people know how we really feel or what we've done, they'll see us differently. They might criticize us, laugh, or think we're weak. So we stay quiet or say what we think others want to hear, hiding parts of ourselves to feel accepted. That fear is real, especially in families, workplaces, or cultures where appearances matter. Another reason is fear of conflict. Being truthful can mean saying something uncomfortable like giving feedback to a coworker or telling a friend they hurt you. That can lead to tension, and many of us avoid that at all costs. But avoiding conflict through silence often means carrying frustration inside. We smile outside, but feel tired, sad, or angry within. Over time, that silence can hurt relationships more than honest communication would. Then there's perfectionism, the belief we have to seem perfect. When we hold ourselves to impossible standards, it's hard to admit mistakes or doubts. Saying I don't know or I need help feels like failure. But being human means being imperfect. And owning that is what makes us relatable. Some of us struggle with people pleasing, putting others' feelings above our own to keep everyone happy. People pleasers often say yes when they mean no or stay silent when something feels wrong. While kindness is a strength, hiding your truth to avoid upsetting others can leave you feeling invisible or unfulfilled. Another barrier is imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, like you don't deserve your success. When you feel this way, it's hard to be truthful about struggles because you fear being found out. So you hide challenges and pretend everything's fine, which only adds pressure. These challenges fear of judgment, conflict, perfectionism, people-pleasing, imposter syndrome are real. They make truth feel risky. But here's a reminder, being truthful doesn't mean being unkind. You can share your truth with care. You can admit flaws and still be strong. And the more you practice truth, the less scary it becomes. So, what stops you from being real? Is it fear, pressure, guilt, or the habit of saying yes when your heart says no? You're not alone. We all face moments when truth feels hard, but recognizing what holds you back is the first step to choosing differently, one small moment at a time. Truth with yourself, the root of growth. Now let's turn inward to one of the toughest kinds of truth. Being honest with yourself. This is where real growth starts. Self-truth means building self-awareness, facing the truth about who you are, what you want, and what's holding you back. It's about looking at your thoughts, feelings, habits, and actions, even the ones you'd rather ignore. This kind of truth takes courage. It means noticing your flaws. Maybe you procrastinate, react with anger, or avoid tough conversations. It means owning those flaws without excuses or blaming others. It also means being clear about your dreams. Sometimes we pretend we want something because it sounds good or others expect it. But real truth is asking, what do I want? What makes me happy? And then being brave enough to follow that. Owning mistakes is another part of self-truth. Everyone messes up, it's human. But hiding mistakes or blaming others blocks growth. When you say, I was wrong, or I could have done better, you create space to learn and improve. Here's a question. Can we change if we're not honest about what needs changing? It's hard to fix something if we don't admit it's broken. For example, imagine someone who wants to improve their English, but keeps saying, I don't have time, or I'm too old. Without truth, they won't see that fear or doubt might be the real barriers. But if they admit those feelings, they can find solutions, build confidence, and move forward. Self-truth also means being kind. It's not about criticizing yourself harshly, it's about being your own best friend, noticing where you can grow while celebrating your strengths. Self-truth is the foundation for truth with others. If we can't be real with ourselves, it's hard to be real in relationships, our work. But when we practice self-awareness and self-acceptance, truth flows naturally in every part of life. So, I encourage you to ask, what truths am I avoiding? What parts of myself do I need to face with kindness and courage? Growth is a journey, and every step starts with truth, especially the truth we give ourselves. The long-term power of truth. It's easy to focus on the short-term challenges of truth, the fear, the discomfort. But truth has a powerful long-term impact. Staying truthful, even when it's hard, builds something strong inside us and around us. Let me share a story. I had a colleague, let's call her Sarah, who spotted a mistake in a team project report. Instead of ignoring it or covering it up, she told her manager. At first, some thought she'd get in trouble. But over time, her truthfulness showed integrity or commitment to doing what's right. She earned respect and became a trusted leader. Sarah's story shows how truth builds consistency in how others see us, which shapes our reputation. Truth also brings emotional benefits. When we live truthfully, we feel peace, no worrying about secrets or lies. That relief is powerful. Truth builds confidence, too, because we trust ourselves more when we align our words with our values. This authenticity feels deeply satisfying. Truth also means accountability, owning our words and actions. Admitting mistakes and learning from them shows maturity. People respect those who take responsibility instead of making excuses. So, truth isn't just about one moment, it's about building habits of integrity, consistency, and accountability. These habits shape our character and relationships over time. Here's a question: who do you admire for their truthfulness, and why? Maybe it's a family member, a teacher, or a friend. What qualities do they show that you want to grow in yourself? Truth is a daily choice, and it rewards peace, confidence, respect are worth the effort, when truth hurts, and how to be kind yet truthful. We've seen why truth matters for trust, confidence, and relationships. But let's be honest, sometimes truth hurts. One of the biggest challenges is how to be truthful without being unkind. There's a difference between truth and harshness. Some people use truth like a weapon, saying, "I'm just being honest," but their words feel cold or disrespectful. That's why many fear truth, not for the truth itself, but how it's shared. This is where tactful truth comes in, sharing truth with compassion. Think of it as truth with love. It's about helping, not hurting. It's choosing words carefully so your message is honest and kind. As the saying goes, say it in a way they can hear. If someone feels attacked, they stop listening. But if they feel understood, they are open to your words. Asterisk. For example, imagine a friend practicing for a job interview asks for feedback. You notice they use filler words and avoid eye contact. You could say, "You sounded nervous and unconfident." That's true, but it might discourage them. Or you could say, "You have great ideas and passion for the job." If you cut down on filler words and make more eye contact, your confidence will shine. That's truthful and kind, helping them grow. Tactful truth takes practice. It's not about avoiding tough topics, it's about thinking before you speak, considering timing, tone, and the other person's feelings. Ask yourself, what's my goal? Am I helping or just proving a point? Sometimes the most truthful thing is saying something tough, but gently. Reflect on this. Have you learned to say hard things kindly? Maybe you've given feedback or received it. What made it positive or painful? What would you do differently? Kind truth shows emotional intelligence and strengthens relationships. It's a skill that grows with practice. Cultural views on truth. Is it always the best policy? Truth isn't the same everywhere. Different cultures view truth differently. And what's honest in one place might seem rude in another. Is truth always the best policy? And does it always look the same? In some cultures, politeness and harmony matter more than blunt truth. People might avoid criticism or hard truths to protect feelings and relationships. This is tied to saving face, protecting someone's dignity or reputation to avoid shame. For example, if a friend's meal isn't great, you might say, "Thank you for your effort," instead of "It doesn't taste good." In many Asian cultures, saving face is keeping to direct can cause discomfort. On the other hand, some believe in radical truth, saying exactly what you think, no matter what. This builds deep trust because nothing's hidden, but it can feel harsh if not done carefully. Both approaches have pros and cons. Saving face keeps peace, but might hide important truths. Radical truth encourages openness, but can hurt feelings. Even within one culture, people differ on when to be direct or gentle. Reflect on your own culture. How is truth viewed where you come from? Do people speak openly or use softer words to protect feelings? When is it okay to be blunt? and when should you be careful? Understanding these differences is key in our global world. It helps us communicate respectfully with people from diverse backgrounds. But respecting differences doesn't mean avoiding truth, it means finding ways to be truthful and kind. It's about choosing words thoughtfully, listening well, and noticing how others respond. Truth is a skill, not just a rule. By learning these perspectives, we become better communicators, building connection, not conflict. As we wrap up today's episode, let's reflect on everything we've explored about the power of truth. Truth is more than just saying what's real, it's about being authentic with ourselves and others, building trust, and living with courage. We've seen how truth deepens connections, boosts confidence, and brings peace. But truth isn't always easy. It takes courage to face judgment or conflict. It requires self-awareness to admit flaws or fears, and it means understanding that truth doesn't mean being blunt. It's about choosing words that respect others and ourselves. Despite these challenges, truth is worth it. When we choose truth, we choose freedom from secrets, worry, and the stress of hiding. We choose growth and connection, living authentically in a way that feels true to who we are. Here's a challenge for you this week. Try being a little more truthful in one area of your life. Maybe share how you really feel with a friend. Maybe admit a mistake at work or ask for help. Or maybe face a goal or fear you've been avoiding. It doesn't have to be big. Small steps toward truth make a big difference. And here's one last question to ponder. What's one truth you've been holding back? And what might happen if you said it out loud? Imagine the relief, the space for change, the possibilities truth could unlock. Thank you for joining me today on Decode Your English. I hope this episode has inspired you to embrace truth as a tool for growth, connection, and freedom. Every journey starts with a single step, and today, you've taken a step toward living more truthfully. I can't wait to see you again for our next episode. Until then, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and keep coding your English and your truth. Asterisk.